Hello, and welcome back. This is part numero cuatro of my little mini series that I've been doing here where I go through and I break down the lyrics to every song on the album, right? So, this is number four, Two to Play, from my debut album, Lovesick, that it came out last September. I'm just kind of getting around to make some content and whatnot for it. We've already done Lovesick, Heal, God Knows, and this is Two to Play. So,
A Sean Childers production.
like with every other one of these that I've done so far, I got to shout out one album before, got to plug out an artist that was influential to me during this time. And that album is this one right here. You can see my little ring light, like right here. Yeah, yeah. So this is Childish Gambino because of the internet. And man, oh, dude, the production on this album is incredible. Like, I have not heard anything like it since, and I hadn't heard anything like it up till that point. Like, it is a one of a kind album. It is incredible. Like, personally, probably about a 9 out of 10. Um, and the production on it, I tried to. I didn't even try to mimic it because I just don't even know where to begin with it. It's that insane. But just go check it out. Like songs like Zeal to Stockholm, they're just insane. Like the that's the best way I can put it. It is literally like a next level of production skill. So there's that one. I also really like I think it's like Telegraph Ave, Oakland or something like that. That's just a good like late night drive kind of vibe. So it's got a nice little mixture in there. You should go check it out. It is worth the listen. So um, a little bit of a fun fact about this song before I get jumped into actually listening and reacting and like talking about the lyrics and story and whatnot. This song was originally called "Music Is My Medication," and I hated it. I fucking hated it. I'd almost got cut from the album, and in hindsight, probably should have got cut from the album because this one's still not the best. Um, I kind of like it though. It was made and thrown together like a few days before the album was even released. This one and a later one called Deja Vu, they were made like literally days before. And it was just because like I really liked this beat and I felt that there was enough of the story that was important enough for me to tell in this one. Versus Music Is My Medication, that song was, I just felt like everything that I'd said on it was already said on Better Off Alone and on God Knows, which are the songs that are the outside of it. So I ended up was just like, nah, I I don't want to throw away this beat. I'll make something out of it. And there was a big enough plot point in it that I was like, I could probably figure something out. So without further ado, here we go. We are gonna jump straight on in to play. I love this like little production thing when I did the panning back and forth. It's so cool.
I'm going through changes, rearranging, it's strange, and it's got me anxious, impatient, I can't say shit. I gave you my heart, but you won't take it. And yeah, the shrooms they may make me levitate, but no drug I take is gonna hide the pain. You fucked me up, but I'm the one to blame, cause the truth is it takes two to play the game. Lying in this dark room, all I can think of is you. What can I say? You got me obsessing how much I think of the possibility that someday it'll be you and me up on stage, tearing the house down, crowd roars in a rage. But not getting back my energy has left me feeling jaded and insane. Or is that the lifetime of trauma and pain? And when you came around, to me it felt the same. Flashbacks from my past on the storm of memories through my brain, wondering why I had to be this way. Won't even let me take you out on a date, pleading my case while you practice with your band. Treat her like a celebrity and she's gonna be treating your bitch ass like a fan. Replacing the E in my name with a T, cause I stand no fucking wonder she ain't wanting me being a man. I'm going through.
Oh fuck. Okay, so one of the biggest complaints that I got from this album from like my inner circle and like my circle of people that I talked to that actually went through and listened to it all and gave me good like really good feedback on it was this song. This song was like universally trash. And to be honest with you, it's not good. It is fucking horrible. I am incredibly offbeat. I am like I don't know. It's like the delivery on it is just like so bad on everything. I sound so I sound so fucking white, bro. This is like white and nasally, man. Like I don't know. I find it so funny though, because it's like, all right. Let me take a step back. So when I made this song, I knew this and I could tell, but I talked myself out of it because I was just trying to release the album. I got in a rush with it. I just wanted to get it out because I was working in an amphitheater and I was really hoping at this point in time when I released it, I was like, man, like I need to get this album out ASAP because what if somebody hears it and gives me a shot? And decent thought, probably should have just taken the time to actually make something really fucking good with a song like this, for example, or just cut it all together, to be honest with you. But looking back on it now, it's like, is it terrible? Fuck yeah, it is. But if you listen to the lyrics are really good. And I think that it being terrible kind of plays into the lyrics itself. Because, okay, so the chorus of it, right? I'm going through changes, rearranging, it's strange and it's got me anxious. Impatient, can't say shit. I gave you my heart, but you won't take it. And yeah, these shrooms, they may help me, they may make me levitate, but no drug I take is going to hide the pain. You fucked me up, but I'm the one to blame because the truth is it takes two to play the game. Right then and there, like, you know, it sounds like I'm going through changes, I'm struggling, like I'm anxious, I don't really get what's going on, like this is all new to me, this is really fucking me up, it's fucking with my head and all that. And the shrooms that make me levitate, but no drug I take is gonna hide the pain. Like I was going through a lot of shit, obviously. If you've listened to any of the album thus far, probably have gathered that. But like I was like 20 when I was going through all of this shit. And I think that it really captures just that awkward teenage stage, I guess. Like it's so offbeat, it's so like cringe and doesn't really know what it wants to be, but I feel like that really encapsulates and just it shows like the whole in a really weird way. It just shows what I was at that point, which was this awkward ass dude who didn't know how to talk to girls, didn't have enough confidence to talk to women. Um, thought that hitting them up on social media was a good way to get to know them. Like it's I just think that it really demonstrates that really well. And it's like, is the song good? Fuck no. In all honesty, if I heard someone listening to this in my car, I would be like, bro, what are you playing right now? But in the context of the story, I think that it kind of works and it kind of fits. And you know, going deeper into this, like at this point, I was a big psychonaut. Like I was really trying to expand my brain and expand my like just myself in general, like change my thought patterns and change a lot about my life. I get into it a little bit later in the song, but I started changing like a lot of my habits. I started changing what I was doing, started looking at myself a little bit differently, trying to shift what my perception of myself was, my perception of life, and just my perceptions in general. And throughout all of that, it was all fueled by this pain. And it's like I'm going through changes, I'm rearranging. Basically, I'm changing everything in my life. And it is an anxious feeling. It's very stress inducing when change happens because change is hard. It really is. And then it's kind of circling back around to the girl where it's like, I gave you my heart and you won't take it. Um, and it's like, yeah, all these drugs that I'm doing, like none of that shit is it's helping. None of it's helping. It's just covering the issue. It's covering the pain. It's covering the weakness. When in all actuality, like I just needed to accept the fact that I was fucked up from this. Because if I just accepted that fact, fuck, I probably would have moved on a little bit sooner than what I did. Um, and then the first verse is lying in this dark room, all I can think of is you. What can I say? You got me obsessing. How much I think of the possibility that someday it'll be you and me up on stage, tearing the house down, crowd roars in a rage. I'll just go ahead and uh, scroll down a little bit here. Oh, wait. What am I doing? Okay. So, lying in the dark room, all I can think of is you. Pretty much what I'm getting at with all of this is, I was obsessed over this girl, man. Like, I was head over heels for her. I would sit around and wait for a text or wait for a call, wait for a snap, just anything I could do to get that validation. And like I said, I was just obsessing over her. And I was obsessed over this idea that it was going to be her and I up on stage doing our thing. And that was it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, man. Like that was what was in my mind. There was not taking no for an answer with it. Um, and this is kind of serving more or less as like the realization that I'm not getting that back. I'm not like I'm fully coming to terms with it, and it's starting to make sense to me that like, oh, that's not supposed to be how this goes. That's not supposed to be what a relationship is like. You are supposed to get that back. Place a little bit of self-respect and self-love onto yourself and understand that you deserve to have that back. And this is like changing those thought patterns and whatnot, and that kind of awkwardness and that in between, that teen in between stage where you're like, fuck, man, like I gotta choose me a little bit. Like, it's always awkward when you're in between. My therapist actually has talked to me a lot about this, and it's she gave me this analogy of like your bad habits that are holding you back is just a pool of shit that is comfortable for you to be in because you've gotten so accustomed to this pool of shit that you're sitting in. And you're sitting there and you're like, damn, I want to get clean. I want to do better. And that cleanliness is like you're getting out of a pool of shit and you're getting into a shower. But the bitch about it is in between that shit and the shower, you've got a lot of distance to cover that's really awkward and really uncomfortable and a really difficult time because you're wet from being in a pool of shit trying to run over to the shower. And, the wind's blowing, you're outside, you're butt ass naked. Like, it's not comfortable, and that's kind of what this song I feel like captures is that lack of comfortability, that lack of like certainty in the direction in which you're going, that just awkwardness in general. And I don't know, I've learned to appreciate it from that perspective. I don't expect anyone to actually listen to this though because this is so fucking bad. This is gonna be one of those ones that like in 10 years I look back on and I'm like people bring it up and I'm like haunted by it because I'm like I know I'm never gonna be able to escape this one at some point in my life, but I think it's funny. So, um, let's see. Uh, Not getting my energies left me feeling jaded and insane, or is that the lifetime of trauma and pain? When you came around to me, it felt the same, bro. Holy shit! Not gonna lie, that's a fucking bar. That is a fucking bar right there. Um, because like it just goes so deep. Like it's got me feeling jaded and insane. Like I'm just, I'm just like numb to it at this point, pretty much, and it's like driving me nuts. And is that the lifetime of trauma and pain? It's like pretty much what I'm saying is like I'm talking kind of about love here. Like, you know, I've had this conversation with people about borderline personality disorder and how like for me it feels like at times I've registered love as sort of a negative emotion. Like I've mentally been scarred from it so much that I've kind of gone numb to it, and that numbness like whenever you begin to feel something again involving that, it's so overwhelming and it's fucking terrifying. And so like me saying like to me it felt the same, and maybe when you or maybe when you came around to me it felt the same, like getting exposed to that love, like maybe it felt the same as like that. Like what I'm trying to say is like it's a familiar feeling but I shouldn't be used to it, and that familiar feeling is from like those negative feelings around love, that negative attitude towards love. And it's like I went through a lot of shit growing up. I haven't gotten too deep into a whole lot of that, but like I went through a lot growing up. And goddamn washer's going. Um, but I went through a lot of shit growing up, and it's like that pain shapes you and molds you, and you can become accustomed to being numb to it. And she kind of made me feel very similar in that way, where it was like I did feel kind of numb because I kind of had to numb myself to get out of this, to move on from this. And it was so overwhelming, the pain, that it just kind of it felt like every other experience that was like that. And I had to kind of like cope with it in the same way. I don't know if that's making any sense, but that's kind of what I was getting at is it's like sh- my relationship with her felt the same as my relationship with pretty much the feeling of love my entire life, which was, oh fuck, bad, bad, bad. We got to dip out because this hurts. And I don't know. I think that's like crazy deep, and I just think that's really cool as far as the song goes. Um, let's see. Flashbacks from my past storm memories through my brain. At this point, that was more like I was reflecting a lot on my life and just where it was that I had been, where I was at, where I wanted to go. Just those three factors, the past, present, and future. And, wondering why I had to be this way. You won't even let me take you out on a date, pleading my case while you practice with your band. Oh, fuck. So, for the flashbacks from my past storm memories through my brain, like, it just dude, I was so overwhelmed at this point because I realized how much work I had to do on myself. And I think that's a very intimidating thing for most people to have to go through. Um, you find how much work you have, and it's hard. It's not easy work. I mean, fuck, if it was easy, people would be doing it. It's just, it's not at the end of the day. And it was incredibly stressful, and it felt like a storm, like a storm of memories, like a storm of shit that I was trying to run from constantly. Like, bad relationships with father figures, bad relationships with other people in my family that had come and gone, bad relationships with like women and just the struggles in dating altogether. You know, shit in high school that I regretted, bad relationships with work, bad relationships just all around. And, it had me wondering why things had to be that way. Like, why my life had panned out that way. What was it that I had done to end up in that scenario? What kind of account, like, I was trying to take the accountability for it and take the blame and be like, okay, well, what have I done to put myself here? Because clearly I'm doing something. And, wouldn't let me take you out on a date, like, all of these things had led me to this behavior of just like massively insecure, didn't really know who I was, didn't really have any level of self-confidence. And like I wanted to take her I just wanted to take her out on a date and get to know her and like try to treat her right because that was the only bit of identity that I had. Was I just wanted to find some girl that I could shower with love and affection, like I've talked about in some other videos. And the plead in my case while you practice with your band, treat her like a celebrity and she'll be treating your bitch ass like a fan. I mean, that's fucking true. If you treat her like she's this if you pedestalize women, any woman that you pedestalize like that, they are going to walk all over you. I have been on the receiving end of that so many times, and in all honesty, you're asking for it. Like, I don't think that it's right. I think that personally, I would like to see more people. And it's not just women; it's men too. If you're not interested in someone, just fucking tell them and move on. Don't entertain them. Don't try to drag them along and string them along. It's fucked up. But on the flip side, as a dude, like you gotta, or just as a person, you can't be fucking. You gotta have some level of self-respect and self-confidence and understand that like nobody is worth losing yourself over. Like nobody is worth sitting there and questioning everything and questioning your direction and questioning your existence over just because you think that they're this perfect person, this celebrity godlike figure. Like, no, it don't do that. The plead in my case thing, this is a really embarrassing story, but like this is just a testament to like the fact that I know not to like I know don't fucking do this shit. Don't like you have to have some self-respect because dude, like, I texted her one day and I literally was like she was I didn't know this, but she was at band practice and I just sent her like a fucking long ass like paragraph long message basically saying everything that I had been through with her. And I was basically like, like I like you. I understand that you don't like me back. That's fine. But like I like this has really fucked me up. And I don't really know why I told her that, to be honest with you. I think I was just trying to get some closure and begin that kind of moving on process. It wasn't even like trying to it was a weird point in my life. I said that about like every bit of the story, but like it was really like a weird area that I'd found myself in with her where it was like I think that mentally I'd kind of started to get the memo, but this was kind of like I think this was subconsciously me trying to get some closure and move on from this because I messaged her and I told her everything. I told her like when I say everything, I said everything. Like I told her that I wanted to fucking off myself, and I wasn't trying to say that to make her feel bad. That wasn't the goal with it. I just felt I needed to get this shit off of my chest. And I've always been more of a go to the source person. Like I would rather have a conversation just you and me and that be it. There doesn't need to be other people involved, but in this case it really came off weird because it's like I didn't really know the girl and I was fucking obsessed with her. Like, and there's just no way to live, man. Like, I remember she texted me back and she was like, "Look, I'm at band practice. I don't even know how to take this right now." And I thought about it a little bit afterwards. I was like, "Fuck, man. Yeah, you know what? I don't blame you." Like, I wouldn't have known how to take that either if someone had texted me something like that. I've had somebody text me something similar to that, and like, it it did feel kind of, how to put this. It felt good knowing they were in a better place, but I felt terrible about that because I didn't know that it had gotten that bad with them. Uh, like that girl had told me that she hit rock bottom and then like turned to God and all this like turned. She went from not believing in God at all to believing in God and being heavily involved with the church and shit. And it was because I had rejected her. I didn't even know that it had happened, but I don't know. Maybe this is just flip side karma or some shit. I don't know, but really, this just all encompasses, and like the main point I'm trying to make here is in this last statement that like all of this shit, and I'm kind of making fun of it, is like no fucking wonder she doesn't want me to be your man. Like, bro, look at how you're acting. Look at yourself in the mirror. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Who does that? And if you are doing that, don't fucking do that. The fuck is wrong with you? Like, go figure yourself out. If you're acting like this, you don't need to be trying to date. You don't. Okay? Simple as that. You need to have a lot of inner work done within yourself before you even begin to consider dating, because this is not acceptable. And that's why I'm sharing this with you, is that like I've learned from this. I don't do this shit anymore. I learned that this is not acceptable and my life got better because of it. My relationships with women, me being able to talk to women and not act like this is completely like me right now is 24 in April 2025 would not do this shit. And I'm so glad that I'm not anymore, dude, because like I feel better about myself. I can go and it just be me and go do something and enjoy my life. I can go and just be me and be confident in that and let people who fuck with me for who I am fuck with me for who I am. And let people who don't fuck with me for who I am fucking hate on me and don't give a fuck about it. Like, there's no sense in stressing and trying to push and force things like I was at this point in time. Because all it's going to get you is just hurt. It's plain and simple. Like, when I look back at this, I look back at the person that I was back then. That line right there, the no fucking wonder she ain't wanting me being her man. It sums it up. Because I had to look in the mirror and realize I would not date that person. And that's a tough pill to swallow. I'm going to keep going.
Changes, rearranging, it's strange, and it's got me anxious, impatient, can't say shit. I gave you my heart, but you won't take it. Yeah, the shrooms they make me levitate, but no drug I take is gonna hide the pain. You fucked me up, but I'm the one to blame, cause the truth is it takes two to play the game. Truth is I'm terrified, keep searching in you to verify my own self-worth, but you couldn't spare the time to send me a text back. Or even a snap, bitching about this, but I ain't got no room to yap. Leave my friend's sister on, but there was no intentions in that. Still to this day I feel bad. Truth is, Haley, at one point I felt that, but as I started to grow, that shit slowly faded away. It got so consumer growth that I couldn't see straight. Completely took your effort for granted, I strung you along via rope. I never wanted to give you false hope, that's why I cut things off. Trust me, it was difficult, cause I knew everything would change all while I was searching, trying to rearrange my life and my habits all the same. And once I started growing in you, I didn't see the same. So if that makes me an asshole, well, fuck it, that's okay. I'm going through
All right. So this second verse right here, where am I at? So I want to start right here where it says, because truth is, it takes two to play the game. The whole reason I named this two to play is because it does take two to play this game, the dating game. You know, with the girl that the first four songs has been about, um, I guess I'll just say her name. Fuck it. It's her name is Ivy. Um, with her, dude, like I had to come and realize that I was playing into this. There was two people here. There was one that wasn't very interested in me, and there was another one who's overly interested in her. And at any point I could have walked away. At any point I could have stopped. I just didn't. And when I did, I got happier. I was more content with myself. So, also playing off of that is Haley, who I mentioned in this. And the only reason I'm dropping names right now, I don't want this to end up anything. I really don't. I mentioned before I didn't even like dropping names, but this one felt more personal because I know Haley very well. Um, Ivy, I don't really know as well. I think that she's a great person from what I do know about her. That's actually why I hit her up, was because from what I gathered off of what I'd seen on social media, she seemed like a really good person. Um, but with Haley, on the other hand, it was like I did know her very well, and in hindsight, what I had going on with me and Ivy, which was me being obsessed over her, the flip side was true about Haley and me. She was obsessed with me, not to the same degree, I don't think. Maybe fuck, I don't know, but I, I, it was really weird. It was like I was living in between this parallel almost. Like how I was acting versus what was being acted upon me was the same. Like, there was a time that there was a time for a while where Haley and I would, I mean, we were text, talk, play games and shit every day. I didn't really think anything of it. Um, like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed shooting the shit, but I was so head over heels for Ivy that I ended up leading her on, and still to this day feel terrible about it because I'm not trying to air out anyone's dirty laundry, but I know that she didn't handle that very well, and that was a really rough time for her. And I feel like, well, I may not have been the entire reason behind that. I definitely probably was a part of that. That was a really weird time in my life and my friend group. Um, anyway, going back to I'll get into that here in more in a second. But truth is, I'm terrified. I keep searching you to verify my own self worth. I've already talked about that a little bit, where I was looking for the validation in her. I was looking for the validation in her talking to me, her texting me, her, excuse me, snapping me, and saying like, but you couldn't spare the time to even send me a text back or even a snap, bitch, about this, but I ain't got a room to yap. This goes more into the Haley thing where it's like, I was pretty much doing the same thing in return. Like, dude, I literally like Haley would send me snaps and I would literally like mimic the hand motions or like whatever because I didn't know how to fucking Snapchat. I didn't know what women liked when it came to that shit. So I just sat there. I was like, oh, it's probably this, and I would just like mimic that shit, and I would like it was so fucking weird, like the mirroring that I did back then, and I was just trying shit, chucking shit, hoping something would stick so I could land this girl that, in all honesty, I haven't talked to in years now because it's irrelevant in my life at this point. But like you couldn't spare the time, like I was upset with her because she wouldn't make time for me like I was trying to make time for her. But on the flip side, like I can't talk shit because at the same time I'm leading on Haley, and I didn't realize that entirely. Like I kind of it was that was a really weird friendship relationship thing that had happened because she was at that point in my life, my best friend's little sister is who that was. And her family they wanted me to fucking marry her. Like they were pushing for that. They were like, you need to date either Haley or our other sister, one of two. You got to pick one. You got to be a part of the family though. And they are great people. I really do appreciate them, and I'll get further into them later in the song "Losing Myself" in NOLA. But it in all honesty, if thing with Haley and I think they probably would have something probably would have happened if it was like a year prior that we started kind of getting to know each other a bit better. But at this point, and I get into this a little bit later, like um, there was no intentions that I wasn't trying to do that. Still feel bad to this day. Fuck, even to this day, I still feel bad. Like I just do. Um, but truth is, at one point I felt that, but as I started to grow, that shit slowly faded away. Pretty much saying that like I did kind of have feelings for her, but I kind of felt like it was just too little, too late. Like we had kind of missed that chance, and I think that a lot of it, what it had to do was that I felt that at this point I was trying to make changes into my life and trying to go up. And while I was going up, I was watching her spiral down. And it just kind of fell apart. Like, and that's why I say, like, I didn't see, as I started to grow, that slowly faded away. Got so consumed in growth that I couldn't see straight. And like, she put in a lot of effort. She tried with me. She was one of the few women that actually did try with me at this point. But, later on in this, where's it at? And once I started growing and I didn't see the same. Like that trajectory, like I felt like I was growing. I didn't feel like that she was. I thought that she was kind of hitting a downward spiral. And I was like, well, I'm head over heels for a different girl. I'm trying to go upwards. You're on a downward spiral. I just don't think this is it. And we kind of hit the point of no return, which I feel like every guy and girl relationship hits at some point to some degree, which is at some point someone catches feelings. And when someone catches feelings, if the other one doesn't have feelings, it's pretty much destined to fall apart at that point. And, you know, let's see. I strung you along via rope. I never wanted to give you false hope. That's why I cut things off. Trust me, it was difficult because I knew everything would change. So, pretty much what I'm saying here is that, like, you know, as I said, the trajectory thing going on, but she did try. She really did. And I kind of strung her along unintentionally. And, going back into like the Ivy thing, I don't think that Ivy was stringing me along intentionally in hindsight. Um, I think that it just kind of happened. Uh, and I put myself in that situation, which is part of the whole concept of like, it takes two to play the game. But I this is more just talking directly to her. And it's like, I didn't want to give you false hope. I didn't want to break your heart to make you think that this was going to be something only for it to not. That wasn't my goal. It's just unfortunately how things had played out. And I had to make a decision for myself at that time because, I got very uncomfortable at this point because I I knew what I wanted, like what I didn't want out of that. And I felt the more that I didn't want it, the more I was put in a position of people like you trying to make a move on me, I guess. Her trying to make a move on me. Like, there was one day that I was hanging out over there around this time and she had a boyfriend over there and dude, it was so weird for me because like I she took my phone, took a snap, and it just said, "I love you, Sean." And I was just like, I don't even know what to do with this. Like, I came over here to get fucked up and have a good time at that point. Like, I don't want that. I, I've moved on from that. And it really sucked because when I realized that things weren't going to work out and I had to cut things off and I had to move on and like fully understand that this is done and that this is never going to be anything and have to deal with the ramifications from it. I mean, in a really weird way, it put a stake between me and at that point my best friend. Like, it wasn't what I wanted. And because of that and where he lived and he was always around her and whatnot, it made it really hard on me because I didn't want that. And I felt that I was just aggravating a wound with you. I was making your behavior towards me get worse by being around. And I don't know. I felt like such a piece of shit at that time, but I had to understand and like look at myself and understand that the route that I was going, what I was trying to do with my life, it just wasn't in alignment with what you were doing. And that's why I say at the very end of this, like, if that makes you an asshole, then fuck it, that's okay. Like, I hate it, and I felt like such a fucking asshole for that. But the truth was that I had to do what was best for me and what I thought was best for you at that point in time too, because I did still, you know, it was really weird because it's like at some point I began to feel more like it was this brother sister relationship, and it's like I did really care about you, and I did really care about that, like her. It just, in that, I had to do what I thought was best for the both of us, which was step away. And it was so fucking hard because, like I said, it cost me a lot. Like, it wasn't even just my best friend at that point in time. There were other people that I didn't really get to see that much anymore. Like, my buddy Cameron at that point in time. Like, him and I were never like super, super close. We were just more or less our mutual friend Riley. Um, we were kind of just like Riley's friends that hung out when Riley was there. But, that man's getting married here soon. And you you know, I don't blame him for this, but like I'm not in their wedding. I'm not involved in the wedding at all. I'm not gonna be there. I don't blame him for that. I don't fault him for that. Fuck, we've hardly even talked in the last like 3 years at all. But I feel like that was kind of a byproduct of me stepping away. That's kind of what I've earned, to be honest with you, because I don't really see them anymore. And it sucks. I feel terrible about it. But at the end of the day, I had to do what was best for me when it comes to trying to better myself, my life, and my habits. And our habits just didn't really align anymore. And all of this as well kind of just, it kind of drove a wedge and kind of pushed me away a little bit because I just didn't really know how to deal with it. And it's really funny because really what I'm trying to do with the song is draw the parallel of like, this is what I'm doing to Ivy, but then I'm seeing the flip side of what I imagine is probably a little bit of how she feels too, where it's like, earlier in the song when I talk about the band thing, I told you the story behind all of that. Like, I'm sure she felt fucking terrible about that, and I didn't want that, and I'm sure she didn't want me to feel terrible about it either, but at the end of the day, it's just what you get in the dating game, and it takes two to play this dating game. So, I'm going to continue on. It's enough about ranting and airing out laundry. Fuck. I have to do it on here. Good old fashioned way.
Rearranging is stranger, it's got me anxious, impatient, I can't say shit. I gave you my heart, but you won't take it. And yeah, these shrooms they may make me levitate, but no drug I take is gonna hide the pain. You fucked me up, but I'm the one to blame, cause the truth is it takes two to play the game. 3 years later, I'm reflecting on this, all the shit that I did had me feeling fucking sick. Like the time I remade your playlist on fucking Spotify, convincing myself liking your music was gonna make you mine, or all the DMs I slid in looking for someone to fall in line. Acting like the stars would align, someone to fix this fucking guy who can't get out of his mind. I was determined to make his work, but there was never an us, which I think is even worse. I used to not like tattoos until it was you I was trying to choose. Guess when you're in love, there really ain't no motherfucking rules. You turn me into a heartless fool, you turn me into a worthless tool. Desperate for someone to fix, dreaming somehow I'd make it big and not putting in the work. Why would someone want this fucking kid? They say hard work pays off, well I've been feeling laid off, sitting on my ass, I couldn't even keep a day job. I gotta do better if I ever want this pain to fucking stop. I'm going through changes, rearranging, it's stranger, it's got me anxious, impatient, I can't say shit. I gave you my heart, but you won't take it. And yeah, these shrooms they may make me levitate, but no drug I take is gonna hide the pain. You fucked me up, but I'm the one to blame, cause the truth is it takes two to play the game.
Wow. All right, that's a lot. Let me go ahead and jump into some of this because I said a lot of shit in this. To be honest with you, I say a lot of shit in this verse. So 3 years later, I'm reflecting on this. So this verse right here was actually written. I mean, the entire song was rewritten. I tried to write it from the perspective of 20-year-old me at the time. But this verse in particular is me reflecting back on this like later and being like, bro, what the fuck was I thinking? Because, all the shit that I did had me feeling fucking sick. Oh my God. So like the time where you made your playlist on fucking Spotify, because myself liking music was gonna make you mine. She had sent me her playlist on Apple Music, and dude, I bought Apple Music so I could listen to this playlist. And to be honest with you, it's okay. It's an okay playlist. It's not the best playlist I've ever heard in my life. It's not really my style of music, but I was convinced that if I liked enough of it, she was gonna like me. I fucking 20-year-old boy brain, bro. I swear it goes crazy. I was so dead convinced that that was how that was gonna work. Um, and for me at the time, I was like, why the fuck am I paying for Apple Music and Spotify? I don't want Apple Music. So I was like, well, I've got to have her playlist, man. Like I have to. So this like it was probably like 300 songs. I went in and put all of those into a Spotify playlist of songs that I didn't even fucking know for the most part. Like there was so much shit in there. Like what were some of the bands? There was like Mom Jeans was a big one that I saw a lot of. State Champs. Um, who else was in there? Ice Nine Kills. I'm blanking on all these names. I think I think there was like All Time Low. It was like that style of music, like the white people rock, I guess. Like some like Midwest emo kind of vibe, that like pop punk. I think it's what she classified it as. She told me it was like pop punk. Not really my style of music. I like more of like a 2000s uh divorced dad rock, and but some of it was pretty solid. She put me onto some stuff. I went through a long phase where I went through like a 2 month phase where I listened to a lot of state champs. Don't know why. I haven't listened to them at all since. They're solid. They're okay. They're not like the best band I've ever heard in my life, but they were solid. Um, but long story short, I'd gone through and I had remade this entire like 300 plus song playlist and put it in my I'd put it on my Spotify and I would listen to it from time to time. And I said sent her like a couple of mine, but I know damn well she either A didn't listen to it or B gave no fucks about it because we did not have the same music taste whatsoever. And when I tried to send, I tried to send her like two MGK songs from when he released Tickets to My Downfall. It was "Forget Me Too" and my ex's best friend. She's like, "They're okay," and I was like, "Well, fuck." That was about my best shot right there. That's about all I had. And but yeah. Anyway, that's that story. It's fucking stupid, but it's the truth. I will say shout out to you though, because you did put me onto a day to remember. All I want is a banger, and thank you for that. Um, but anyway, so all the DMs I slid in looking for someone to fall in line, acting like the stars of the line, someone to fix this fucking guy who can't get out of his mind. That was a whole different thing. That was just me trying to out myself because at this point, like, I wanted to move on, but for me, I wanted to move. Dude, I was moving on the worst fucking way possible. I would slide into people's DMs and just say some like cringe ass fucking thing. And oh, bro, it makes me want to vomit just thinking about like I remember there remember there was one girl I slid up and I was like, "Oh my God." I slid up and I was like, she said something about like wanting a vampire boyfriend. I was like, I ain't no vampire, but I could be your boyfriend if you wanted to play your cards right. Like, bro, who says that? And by the way, don't say that shit. It's fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. But I'm sorry. That's just so bad. But anyway, like, I was looking for someone to fix me at that point. I've gone over that fucking 1,000 times, and I thought that was gonna be Ivy, but my response to that, to it not being Ivy, was pretty much me trying to find someone else that it was gonna be. And I pushed away a lot of fucking women over this shit because I was hitting up pretty much like every woman that I started reflecting on was like, oh, they may have been interested in me. And the sad thing is that a decent amount of them probably were still interested in me. But the ones that were interested in me, I was like, ah, no, I'm not interested in you now. All of a sudden, fuck. Like, there's this one girl, her name's Sydney. Like, I had hit her up, and I had known her for like a couple of years now at this point, And I hit her up and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" We talked and we chatted for a little while, and I literally just stopped replying because I was like, "Nope, this is going good. Not doing this." And then there was another girl named Grace who pretty much same deal. Like I'd hit her up, we'd chat, we'd talk for a little bit, and then I'd be like, "This is boring. I'm done." And it was just like, I think in hindsight, I liked the chase and the fact that they weren't making me chase was just such a turnoff for me. And that's so toxic in hindsight. Like, I'm so, so glad I'm not doing that shit anymore, man. Like, that is so fucking bad. But I think it really just goes to show that I just want someone to fix me. Uh, but then when I got exposed to like what would have been what I actually wanted, which was a healthy relationship, just I was like, nah, nah, I'm good. Which just self sabotage, really, more or less. Um, Next line in here is I was determined to make us work, but there was never an us, which I think is even worse. It's not like tattoos until it was you I was trying to choose. Guess when you're in love, there really ain't no motherfucking rules. So that's true. I was not a tattoo guy at all. I literally, at the moment I saw a girl with a tattoo, I was like, bye, off, later. And now I have a tattoo appointment in less than a month for my own tattoo. Crazy how things change. But let's see. I was determined to make us work, but there's never us, which I think is even worse. Yeah, that's pretty bad, and that's pretty much what I'm getting at with like the simp thing, more or less, is that like I was so determined that her and I were gonna fulfill this dream that only I had, and like I said, only I had it. So made it was pretty bad look, to be honest with you. Um, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Um, Used to not like tattoos until it was you I was trying to choose. Guess when you're in love, they really ain't no motherfucking rules. Yeah, I mean, when you got those rose tinted glasses on and you start looking at somebody, you don't see what you actually value. You see that you're in love, and that's pretty much it. And I don't even know that I would. I think I was more in love with the idea than I ever was the girl. In hindsight, uh, because I am still very grateful for all of this. I'm grateful that this changed me into the man that I am today. But I saying love, that's a really strong word to use for this. Like I was obsessed with her. I'll use that word, but maybe more along the lines of like limerence opposed to love, where it's just like a really strong infatuation. Um, but anyway, this is kind of me deflecting the blame here, where it's like you turn me into a heartless fool, you turn me into a worthless tool, desperate for someone to fix dreams, so how I make it big, not putting in the work. Why would someone want this fucking kid? I mean, that right there is like I was acting like a kid. I was so immature. I was so emotionally damaged, so emotionally just unavailable. Like I said, with the women that were actually interested in me and just being like, no, I'm good. I was just so fucked up mentally and had it all ass backwards, and I was really just toxic and would not have made a good boyfriend at that point in time. And I was acting like a kid. I was acting like a little boy, and it this was song really kind of signifies like me changing and beginning to really take a stride and changing into a man and becoming the man that I am today. And like I was dreaming how that I'd make it big. I told everybody all the time. I was like, I want to make music. I want to be a famous musician. I want to be a producer. All this other shit. At this point when the song was, when I would say the song would canonically in the story of my life take place, it would probably be like March or April ish of 2021. I can tell you right now, I looked at FL Studio 3 times. Yeah, not good for someone that wants to make this their life and make this their dream and all this other shit. I was not putting in the work whatsoever. Um, they say hard work pays off. Well, I've been feeling laid off, sitting on my ass. I couldn't even keep a day job. I got to do better if I ever want this pain to fucking stop. So I, I've mentioned this in one of the other videos. I didn't have a job at this point. I so what I told you about the hitting her up in the playlist thing and hitting her up about the MGK songs, that would have been in like January of 2021 when all this shit really started. Um, I was working as a at home like I don't even know what the title was. I just did like assisted living pretty much. Like I was CPR certified, and I would go over to like assisted living centers for people with like mental disabilities that were older. And bro, shout out to them because in all honesty, I felt I did them dirty. I got COVID and then I quit, but I really liked some of them. I'm not allowed to name names because, well, HIPAA, but there were a couple of them that I still think about from time to time, to be honest with you. Um, but I quit that job and I left my job at the hospital prior to that to go to that job. Went like 2 months without working, and then I worked at Amazon for 2 weeks and I quit that. And then I worked at Aldi for like a week and I quit that. I couldn't hold down a job. I just wasn't interested in it. I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to try at anything. I didn't have the motivation. And I was acting like I did and I acted like I was. I was talking about it way more than I was about it. And, you know, I say like I gotta do better if I ever want this pain to fucking stop. Like, so later on, I talked way later on. I got into anime, right? Not like I'm not like a super big anime guy. There was just I just watched like Attack on Titan and Death Note and a few others that really caught my attention. But really, only those two were the ones that I like really enjoyed. The rest of them I kind of just forced myself through. But in Attack on Titan, my favorite character Levi talks about it, and he says like, when it comes to discipline, I find pain to be the greatest teacher, or something like that. And that line is kind of a reflection of that, where it's like, you know, you're gonna deal with two types of pain in your life. You're either gonna deal with the pain of doing it and the pain of discipline, which is a pain in the ass, or you're gonna deal with the pain of lack of fulfillment and this pain of always wondering what could have been, the pain of regret, which is pain in your mind and a pain in your heart because you're not doing what you really want to be doing, what you really wanted to be doing. And you have to pick your pain. And if I ever want that shit to stop, I got to get off my ass. Is pretty much what I'm saying there. Like, I need to get up off my ass. Shit don't change to get up and wash your ass, motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean? It's more or less, I just needed to stop doing what I was doing and to really reassess my life and just do better. And that's a lot of what this song talks about. This song's all over the place though, so
making change. I started looking at my days, wasting time getting high. I'm sure someone out there can, because the truth is it takes two to play the game. I started making change. I started looking at my days, wasting time getting high. I'm sure someone out there can relate. That's all I ever wanted to give back in the same kind of way. Linkin Park, Breaking Benjamin, and 3 Days Grace did for me. They held me up when I was down. How can I ever repay? I started with my habits, eating 3 meals a day. Can't be 6'2", sitting at 148. I started taking vitamins. I started going to the gym. I quit drinking caffeine, new habits got me going in. Started feeling myself, tripping on some psilocybin, rewiring my brain, seeing flashes of me thriving. Started gaining confidence and taking back that power that I fucking gave away for thoughts of a wedding ring, thoughts of buying you flowers. Stepped into reality and realized this ain't a dream of ours, it was just a dream of mine. I projected onto you, wasted so much of my life trying to make you love me too, but is it really a waste of time if you end up alright? Take the lessons and move on, building up a better life. I may not have the answers, but I do have a choice, so I gotta move on with my life. It's time for me to stop acting like a motherfucking boy.
so that's two to play. Let's see, where am I at? That I mean, that's the entire song right there. That was the most awkward thing I've ever said in my life. What the fuck am I doing right now? It's like damn near 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm exhausted, so don't mind me. Anyway, I started making change, started looking at my days, wasting time getting high. I'm sure someone out there can relate. So really at this point, a lot of what the song has been addressing is a handful of things. It's been addressing the girl, the parallel between the girl and between Ivy and Haley and my actions. It's been assessing my immaturity and where I'm at. It's me looking myself in the mirror because of those things and assessing my immaturity, where I'm at, what I'm doing, where I'm contributing to this game, where I'm the second player in this two-player game. And then it kind of moves on to like reflecting back and just how I'm disgusted with it in hindsight. But now this is going back to where it's like, okay, well, how do I respond to all of this? Because at the end of the day, a man is not judged, and not even just a man, people are not judged by what they do, what they go through. It's how they respond to those things. And that's kind of what I wanted to get at with this. And honestly, right here, my flow is a hell of a lot better than what it was in the first like verse or two. But this one's the message I think is a lot better too, where it's like, I'm going through all these things that I was doing. I've told you all these things in this video that I was doing, and then it goes and flips where it's like I started making that change. I started looking at my days. I was wasting time getting high. I'm sure someone out there can relate because at that point in my life, that's all I was doing was getting high and listening to music. I got a job. I was working doing detailing with who ended up the guy that ended up becoming my new like best friend at that point. And to this day is still my best friend. Like I, I mean that's my brother right there. Damn it, like that's my motherfucking brother. But you know, what I'm trying to get at is like I know a lot of people out there can relate to this kind of stuff, and that's a lot of what I got into music to do was to put that out there, and to put out there that it, this is a part of life. I feel like going through these weird stages of life where you don't really know who you are, where you're questioning a lot of things, especially at your late teens, early 20s. Um, and really, all that I wanted from this, especially at the time, was like, I just wanted to give back. I wanted to share my experience, share my story, share my struggles, share my lessons learned, and what I did to get out of that. And I wanted to do that because after I walked away from all of this, and after, the tripping on the shrooms and shit like that, and trying to rewire my brain, I realized that I kind of thought life was dope to live. Like, I started seeing the beauty in it. I started seeing the value in it. I started seeing all of that. And when I look back at bands like Linkin Park and Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace, I told you fucking dad rock is my shit. When I started looking at those bands though, that's what they did for me, man. Like I it felt so good and so comforting knowing in the worst moments of my life when I was struggling the most that I wasn't alone. You know, in the songs like Numb by Linkin Park, it's the amount of times I sat there and listened to that and was like, yeah, man, I have become kind of numb. Like, I related a lot to it because I felt so much pressure to live up to a standard that everyone had set out for me. Or, in Breaking Benjamin, there's a song called Crawl by Breaking Benjamin. It's probably my favorite song by them altogether. I remember I went through a breakup when I was in high school, and I listened to that, and I think that I just related so much to it because the chorus of it was like live, fight, crawl back inside. And it was just like painting the picture of a toxic relationship where it's like, yeah, that was my life at that time. It was live, fight, like argue, get pissed at each other, and then break up, and then go right back into it. And it's just like you turn around, you slam a lot of my relationships, even past women, like with my own father and whatnot, were like that, where it was like get fucking pissed at each other, argue, scream, shout, put hands on each other, shit like that. Turn around, slam the door, say you ain't never coming back, and the next day you're at the door knocking, being like, I'm sorry, I fucked up. And then with like 3 Days Grace, like, you know, Never Too Late, I Hate Everything About You. Those were all songs I really related to. Another one that I really related to was World So Cold. Like living in a world so cold, wasting away and shit. Like, I felt like I'd gone numb to all of this shit, all this pain and all of that. And having those artists there expressing what they were going through and expressing what it was like for them really changed a lot for me because it allowed me to have someone to look up to and have someone to see that seeing the other side. And I see that they're successful. I see that they're doing good with their life. I see that they, I mean, it's unfortunate with what happened with Chester, but, I see that there's another side, is what I'm getting at. And I kind of just want my music to be able to be used in the same way. And that's why I said, like, they held me up when I was down. How can I ever repay? That was an actual question I asked myself. I was like, okay, how can I repay? Like, I settled on the fact that I just wanted to get better myself. I wanted to better myself so that I could be there and help other people with give my hand up so they can better themselves as well and they can want to better themselves and kind of give them that beacon of hope that uh, they had given me at that point where it's like it does get better. Even if you're going through a shitty time right now, it does get better. And that's how I think I can repay is by taking that role and stepping into it myself. Um, so in getting better, I've changed my habits. I started with my habits. I started eating 3 meals a day. At this point, man, I was eating 1 meal a day. I was pale. Like I looked sickly. I was 6'2". I'm still 6'2", 6'3" ish, depending on the day. I was 148 pounds. There's no reason I should have been 148 pounds. Right now, I'm 185 pounds. I was 148 pounds. That's not good. I looked sick. I was pale white and looked sick. Um, I started taking vitamins. I started going to the gym. I quit drinking caffeine. New habits got me going in. Like, you know, I still take these vitamins this day. I think B12 and D3. It's like metabolism, energy, shit like that. Immune system. Oh, hey, I don't know how I did that, but whatever the fuck that is. Um, it started changing my life. Started lifting weights at home. I started working out. I was sore as shit, but it was getting me somewhere. I was getting somewhere with it. And new habits got me going in, started feeling myself, tripping on some psilocybin, rewiring my brain, seeing flashes of me thriving. Like, if you don't know, there's a type of therapy called like DBT therapy that's very common for borderlines. Um, I was doing a version of that with psychedelics because I had read it in a book that there were studies going around doing that. And basically, what I was doing was I was tripping, I was challenging the thoughts in my brain of like, you don't deserve love, you're not good enough, you're never going to make it in music, you're never going to amount to shit. And I would turn those into something else. And I would be like, I am good enough, I am worthy of love, I am going to be something someday. I am going to put in the work. I can meet these goals. I can do all of this. I will do all of this. And all of that, I started feeling better about myself. I started feeling good. I started feeling physically better and healthier. And, you know, I gained confidence. I started seeing a path where it wasn't bleak and gray. It was like, oh, there's something here. There's potential here. I can make something out of this. Um, I started taking back that power that I fucking gave away for thoughts of a wedding ring and thoughts of buying you flowers. Step into this reality and realize it ain't a dream of ours. It was just a dream of mine. I projected onto you, wasted so much of my life to make you love me too. But is it really a waste of time if you end up all right? So pretty much what I'm saying here is that like, I'd given away a lot of that power over myself because I had pedestalized her going back to that point earlier where, all of my confidence had gone now there because I put her on a pedestal instead of putting myself as my priority. I put her as my priority. And, when I took back that power that I'd given her over me, I started feeling better about me. I started feeling better about myself. I started feeling like I was healthy again. I started feeling like me again and that I wasn't losing myself again. And, I gave it away for thoughts of wedding ring, thoughts of buying flowers. Like I gave it away for this dream of being this trophy husband that I don't even want anymore. I don't want a wedding ring. I don't want to be married now. I don't want kids. I'll still buy a girl flowers. Don't get me wrong. I will do that. But it's, I had that dream of her and I realized that that dream was just my dream. And that's what I wanted her to be. But it takes two to play the game. If she's not in and she's not playing the game, well, I can't play this game by myself. I can, but, nah, I'm not even going to go there. Jesus, I need to stop. But anyway, I realized it was just a dream of mine that I projected onto you, and I wasted so much of my life to make you love me, trying to make you love me too. Like, don't do that shit, guys. You only have so much time in this life. You really do. You only have so much time and it's always ticking away. And don't waste your time chasing after people who don't love you. Don't waste your time chasing after people who don't want to be around you, who don't respect you, who don't genuinely care about you. Spend that time with the people who do. And you need to be one of them as well. Don't forget that part of it. That part's important. Don't forget that. You need to be one of those people who genuinely wants to see you succeed, who genuinely is there for yourself, who you like to spend time with as well. Because those relationships in that time is important. Um, then I asked the question, was it really waste time if you end up all right, take the lessons and move on, building up a better life? That's a fair question. I'm kind of stumped by that. Because it's a pretty good fucking question, but my gut answer to that is yes and no. Like, I did waste my time and I probably could have learned those lessons a little bit sooner and not wasted that time. But at the same time, I like who I am now. And I don't want to trade that. I wouldn't trade that, man. Like, when I look back on that and I look back at all that time that I wasted, well, all that time and all those lessons and whatnot were what I needed to make me today. And it feels good to be there. It feels really good to be there. And someday, if you're listening to this and sitting like, well, I'm not there right now, someday you'll be there too. You just got to keep putting in the work and have faith in yourself and have faith in the fact that it will get better someday. Um, and you need to take those lessons. You need to move on, build yourself a better life. Like for me, like I said, I talked about it in like the habits and whatnot. You know, I was going to the gym. I was changing my eating habits. I stopped drinking caffeine and all. By the way, caffeine headaches fucking suck. Oh my God, dude. It's one of the hardest addictions I've ever had to quit just because of the withdrawal symptoms. It sucks bad. Oh, bro, that was brutal. But I swapped caffeine with water. I started taking vitamins to boost my energy levels and shit. I, I was eating way healthier. I was actually eating 3 meals a day instead of coming home and snacking on Pop Tarts and cereal for fucking 30 minutes. And then that was my 1 meal a day. Like, bro, I was not healthy. I was not doing well. Um, and I started building up a better life and try to take those lessons and move on and build myself. And all of this pretty much just to say, like, I might not have the answers, but I do have a choice. So I got to move on with my life. It's time for me to stop acting like a motherfucking boy. And pretty much what this leads into is better off alone. And I'm pretty much just saying here, like, look, at this point, I might not know what that looks like for me as far as what a better life is, but I do have a choice. And that choice you make every day. You make it subconsciously or consciously, whichever one you want. You know, at any day I could have stopped eating 3 meals a day. But I woke up and I chose to eat three a day. And it hurt. It hurt my stomach to do. But now it doesn't because I made that change. And that's one example. Another example is since then, back then I didn't really make music the way I wasn't serious about it. Nowadays, I do something music related every fucking day. I went to school. I've sunk probably tens of thousands of dollars into myself on this. That's a choice. And it's a choice every time that I wake up, get out of bed, and drive myself to school. It's a choice every time I wake up, get out of bed, put my shoes on, and decide what shoes I'm going to put on so that I can go be an EMT for a day. It's a choice every time that I wake up and I decide, you know what? I think I'm going to skip out on the Chick-fil-A today because I'm starting to put on a little bit too much weight. It's a choice every time that I would sit there and want to text Ivy and then not do it because I had to learn enough self-respect and that she's not interested and enough is enough. And it's a choice to move on with your life, choose the path of self-love and self-respect, and to switch from a boy to a man, and to switch and grow up, and to finally implement all of those changes that at this point I've been talking about for so long. So that's really all I've got on this one. I know this song is fucking horrible, but if you made it this far, thank you. I will keep doing these. I'm planning on pumping out a few more of these in rapid succession because I'm trying to get all these done before I move. I'm working on getting an apartment, working on getting that ball moving, and I'm very excited about that. Once again, a choice. But I'm trying to get all these done before I move. I'm going to keep doing these reactions, and if there's any content that you would like to see, if you've made it this far, if there's any content that I'm making you want to see more of, if there's some that you have ideas for, I'm all ears. I'm pretty open to this. Like, the community that I'm trying to build with this is pretty much one where I'm open. I'm a pretty laid back, chill guy. Haha. I'm pretty open to whatever. But this is the type of content that I want to make, so that's kind of where I'm starting. But with all that being said, it's been real. It's been fun. Been here long enough. This video is over an hour long at this point. So if you guys are going through a struggle, if you guys are going through anything, try making some changes. I promise you, they're worth it. So with all that being said, Unc, Big Brother, whatever the fuck you want to call me, I'm out, guys. Take care.
I'm going through changes, rearranging, it's strange, it's got me anxious, impatient, I can't say shit. I gave you my heart, but you won't take it. And yeah, the shrooms they make me levitate, but no drug I take is gonna hide the pain. You fucked me up, but I'm the one to blame, cause the truth is it takes two to play the game.